the largest lake in Ethiopia, the source of the Blue Nile, home to ancient monasteries and amazing natural attractions. Lake Tana. Lake Tana contributes 80% of the water supply to the Nile, one of the longest transboundary river in the world. It is known for its amazing numerous islands, which are home to ancient monasteries and churches. The monasteries hold ancient manuscripts and religious artifacts, which are evidences of Ethiopia's age-old and remarkable civilizations. The Dek Island is notably famous and the largest among the 37 islands in the Tana Lake. It encompasses various monasteries which were established many years ago. The monasteries are endowed with historical accounts which are substantial evidences of the ancient Ethiopia. The Narga Selassie Monastery is one of the most historical church in the island, consisting a plethora of manuscripts and historical heritages which are crucial evidences of the past. Historical accounts attest that Narga Selassie Monastery was founded in the 17th century during the time of Empress Mentewab. The architectural design of the church is magnificent and takes similarity with Kuskwam Church located in Gondar. Empress Mentewab had no information about her son Iyasu, who marched for war. The empress, who has no knowledge of the whereabouts of her son, went to the church to pray to God to make a solemn promise. She promised to God to establish a church on the Dek Island if her dearest son returned home safe. Her son returned home from war, and she was able to establish the church.
የስራው 7 ዓመት ፈጅቶበታል ምክንያቱም ለዚህ ህንጻ ተስማሚ የሚሆኑ ደንጋዮች በሳር ታንኳ
It took 7 years to establish this church because proper construction materials used to be transported from remote places outside the country. What's more, over 150 scholars took part in the making of the church.
Many of the monasteries in the lake are notable for the wall paintings. The Narga Selassie Church is also decorated with paintings with profound spiritual meanings and implications.
የአሳሳል ዘይቤው የሁለተኛው ጎንደር የአሳሳል ዘይቤ ተብሎ ይታወቃል በኢትዮጵያ ትውፊታዊ ስነ ጥበብ ጥናት ማለት ነው።
The style of the paintings on the wall of the church is known as the second form of Gondar in the oral wisdom. This form of painting was started in the end of the 17th century. It is different from the other form of paintings in the past. The paintings are no same kind of color like those drawn in the past. The costumes are embroidered with several different colors. The paintings are framed with much more exquisite frames embroideries. What makes this second form of painting peculiar is that it is not only enshrined with spiritual and religious meanings, rather it is also preoccupied with secular implications. The science of painting is more intricate and realistic.
The Narga Selassie Church is constituted of 3 compartments according to the structural style of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. The first court of the compartment of the church is known as the Praise Court. The second compartment is called Holy Court, while the third innermost court is known as Holy of Holies. All the courts of the church are decorated with the paintings displaying spiritual meanings. The church is decorated with the paintings with all the 4 corners, and the content of the paintings depend on the direction it takes. The northern direction of the church is painted with the picture of the martyrs and personalities known for their righteous works in the past. The southern direction of the court is usually painted with the life of exile experiences of Virgin Mary.
The paintings which are available in all corners of the church are biblical. They are in association with the historical accounts and biblical teachings of the Bible. This painting depicts that Virgin Mary was revealed in Debre Mitmag Church. This painting indicates that Iyakem and Hannah, who are parents of Virgin Mary, are taking her to temple. This shows that Virgin Mary was provided with sour drink by the time she was pregnant with Jesus.
In the northern corner of the church, where the pictures of personalities known for their martyrdom deeds is shown, indicates an implicative message that believers should fight and die for their faith.
This is the southern side of the church, which shows Virgin Mary's exile life. This picture shows that her parents accompanied to the temple while she was 3 years old. This picture shows the meeting held by pharaohs and the atrocious killing upon the infants by them. This shows Mary's exile to Egypt when Pharaoh was vowing to kill the baby Jesus.
On the southern side of the church, mostly historical accounts of the atrocity of the devil is presented. This happens because it magnifies the intercessory works of Blessed Virgin Mary. That is why it is painted at this side of the church.
The eastern side of the church comprises of paintings that depict the miraculous deeds of Jesus and stories contained in the Old Testament, while in the western side of drawings which emphasize on Jesus Christ starting from his birth to the moments of ascension. The paintings are so spectacular that it all strikes the observers with amusement.
ታች ያለው በብዛት እንግዲህ ከ18ኛው ክፍለ ዘመን አጋማሽ
The paintings, especially drawn after half of the 18th century, are mostly preoccupied with secular implications. Drawings prior to the 18th century primarily are of spiritual message. In the course of time, pictures of people who are known for their heroic deeds began to be drawn for their remembrance.
ስዕሎቹ በዚያውን ሰዓት በኢትዮጵያ ሊቃውንት ከእጽዋት ተቀምሞ የተሳለ ነው።
The pictures are mainly drawn by using herbal paintings. These are drawn by a painter called Qatsala Dingle, as it is shown on the painting.
ስዕል አንድ ታሪክ ነው በራሱ
Paintings are both part of history and heritage. However, it has not been given due attention by relevant bodies to this part of inheritance in the country. The congregation also has less attention to the legacy that comes through the paintings. Sectors working on donation are also primarily giving attention for the building, not for the paintings. So it is a forgotten part. Primarily, the church should give more focus to this as it is part of the historical account of the church. The church which are existing today were established some 130 years ago. These churches are on the verge of damage and the paintings are also fading. Therefore, all pertinent stakeholders should jointly work to renovate the church to better preserve the legacies contained in it.
As you can see around in the church, the paintings are peeling off and the doors are starting to fade in the course of time. I personally transferred the message that as the churches and all things contained in it are heritage of the country, every citizen should take part in renovating it.
There are many heritages of the church which are found in the closed warehouse. The articles include a cross made of silver and treaties explaining the miracle of Virgin Mary.
ያው ቅርሶች ብዙ አሉ መጻሕፍቶች የብራና መጻሕፍቶች የወርቅ መስቀሎች አልባሳቶች አልጋዎች
There are many heritages in the church. Ancient manuscripts and crosses made of silver and gold are some of the heritage of the church. There are also beds of Empress Mintuwab and Emperor Yasu. There is no proper museum established to preserve these historical pieces. It is a challenge to show the pieces to tourists. All stakeholders and the community should strive to establish a museum.
There are rubles of collapsed houses used to serve as a museum for the precious pieces found in the church. The place requires a proper museum for the ancient articles, which are emblems of our history.
ይሄ ራሱ እንደምታዩት ወደ ላይ 7 ፎቅ ነው የነበረ ነው የሚሉን በታሪክ
As you can see around this rubble, it is said to be a building of 7 floors up. As we are told by our forefathers, it had been a museum for various clothing and articles used in the temple. There is a suspicion that there could be a basement down here.
This ancient church is associated with numerous historical events. Though there are tourists coming to visit the area, the number is not to the level it is required to be.
I came here for the first time. I have visited many other ancient churches before, but I was unable to visit this one. I used to hear about the church's fame, but now I am fortunate enough in visiting the church. We must plan to visit such places as it is very good for the spirit. It is also the historical heritage passing down from our forefathers and should be preserved.
ገዳማቶቹ ላይ ያለው የጥገና ችግር የፕሮሞሽን ችግር በጣም ሰፊ ስለሆነ
There is huge promotional and renovation problem facing the monasteries today. It is a problem of many historical places. We are not able to curb the problem, though we have gone a long way to deal with it. In line with our management plan, we are making all the possible efforts to renovate and fix problems facing the historical heritage.
There are many historical heritages in Ethiopia showing the architectural wonders of our forefathers. Historical heritages would inevitably face devastation in the course of time. It is of considerable importance to preserve the historical heritages that have tremendous power in showing the realities of the past generation.